How's it? Welcome in, everybody. I'm Aaron Pryor. This is Big 12 Big Football, presented by Dr. Pepper. Well, we had our initial CFP rankings come out last week for the sole purpose of getting everybody fired up and making you reach for that blood pressure medicine. Some fan bases probably cool with where they're at. Others are screaming at the committee members through their TVs and trying to justify why they should be a little bit higher up. At the end of the day, this is November. These rankings don't matter. They're just talking points, but we're still going to talk about them. Key takeaways from the initial rankings: the fact that the committee recognizes Oklahoma State's 3 conference wins as good wins, especially that win over the Wildcats. Baylor's the Big 12's lone undefeated team. They're in there with strong wins over Oklahoma State and Kansas State. The committee clearly respects the Bears' wins compared to a team like Minnesota, also undefeated, but they're outside of that top 15. And then, of course, there's Oklahoma. They've only played one team ranked in these top 25 rankings. Of course, it's not their fault, but the committee clearly respects what the Sooners have done throughout this season. And OU still has Baylor and Oklahoma State as the current ranked teams left on their schedule, as well as an Iowa State team this week who garners AP votes on a consistent basis, who has challenged the Sooners in recent years. And it's a night game in Norman. Sooner fans, I hear you. Everybody is rejoicing. The Sunrise Sooners become the Sunset Sooners this week in a huge game for the two teams and off of bye weeks after tough losses a couple weeks ago. You've got two of the best QBs in the Big 12 set to battle in this one. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy are two of your offensive leaders, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. Looking at them side by side, Jalen and Brock are 1-2 in total offense in the league. That's 2nd and 5th in the nation. Brock has the upper hand in the passing yards per game category over Jalen. Hurts, though, has thrown for more touchdowns and fewer interceptions. And there is no doubt what Jalen is focused on this week.
We're focused on being 1-0 this week. We're focused on being 1-0 this week. We're focused on being 1-0 this week. You know what's crazy is, what matters to me is being 1-0 this week.
Just to clear it up, you prefer winning to losing this week?
Kansas State clearly laid out a model for slowing down the Sooners. Hold on to the football and limit that powerful OU run game. And look at that, Iowa State's got the best run defense in the Big 12. They only give up 116 yards on the ground per game and have only surrendered 6 rushing touchdowns all year.
Yeah, I think our front seven in general, our defensive line, and our linebacking core is a group of guys that's played a lot of football for us and guys that have been an anchor for why we've been able to be successful at times on the defensive side of the football.
Now, Oklahoma can move the ball through the air just fine. But for Iowa State, it's about making the Sooners one-dimensional and taking advantages of opportunities that come along. It's the Fox Primetime game, 7 p.m. live from Norman. Rolling it back to the morning time, Baylor is in Fort Worth taking on a TCU team that's currently about as thin as you can possibly be at the quarterback position. The Frogs lost 2 quarterbacks this week from the roster, leaving Max Duggan and redshirt freshman walk-on Matthew Downing as the only legitimate options come Saturday. And to make things worse, Duggan's got that middle finger injury on his throwing hand suffered towards the end of the Oklahoma State game. Not an ideal situation to have one of those 7 undefeated teams in the country coming to town Saturday morning. For Baylor, I'm looking for Denzel Mims to keep his momentum going. The future pro was held to 1 catch for 16 yards against Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago, but responded in a big way against West Virginia. 5 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown, his first score since the Iowa State game on September 28th. Mims came into this year having led the team with 8 touchdown grabs a year ago and as the obvious #1 returning receiver on the team. But that never really bothered him, especially with the receiving core he's got all around him.
Well, I try just to take it as I always took it, I know that I can be the guy. Well, I know I'm the guy, but everyone can mess up too. So it's like I got my brothers with me too, so they help me, help me control this, help me stay on the same page and have the right mind.
Baylor hasn't won in Fort Worth since 2013. That game gets going 11 a.m. on FS1. Texas is coming off a bye week after a loss to TCU 2 weeks ago, and the message out of Austin this week was pretty clear. The Longhorns got much needed rest and an additional week to get guys back from injury. And that includes guys like Caden Stearns, BJ Foster, DeMarvion Overshone, and running back Jordan Whittington, who hasn't played since the first game of the year. It's a young defense for the Longhorns, no doubt, and several freshmen were forced into action because of the number of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. One of the most important pieces on that defense, though, is senior captain Malcolm Roach. The Baton Rouge native is someone Coach Herman knew would be a natural leader for this program, someone who made sure the young guys stayed focused on the field. He was a teacher and he's a leader, and a guy who garnered his team's respect from early on.
I always had the confidence, to speak up and speak my mind. After the Sugar Bowl, I knew it was going to be a lot of guys, missing, a lot of guys that won't be in the room again with us this year coming up. So, me being one of the older guys in the room, I knew a lot of people was going to look up to me, to become the leader of the defense. So, I took it with pride and happy of the way things are working out so far.
The Wildcats and Longhorns, 2:30 p.m. on ESPN. Now, just like we do every week, let's wrap things up with the best of the best from Week 10 in the Big 12.
3rd down and 2. Option. Thompson will keep it and a hole. Thompson inside the 10. Brought down near the 2. A 35-yard run sets up Kansas State 1st and goal.
It's 1st down.
Got to account for the quarterback in this play.
Always. And this is how they got Oklahoma a week ago. Ran in the option on a 3rd down play, put the defender in a tough
there
spot.
for Coach Gundy to walk in the stadium with those young people. So great that college football athletes can touch so many different people. Wide open down deep. Stoner. Sydney would love that. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Target clock to move if you're Baylor, right?
For sure. But I would expect that they would use it.
I agree.
They're
They're going to throw it. Looking for Thornton on a deep ball. Simultaneous. It looked like Thornton and Washington were battling, and it's a catch. It is a catch. Are you kidding me with that play, Tyquan Thornton?
Unbelievable aggressive play call on their best cover guy, Washington. The trust and the faith they have in this quarterback that they have in Thornton.
Never a bad day when they're around. Hubbard having a good one here. Trying to go off to the races. Cuba from Canada and beyond.
Coaches' kids are out there. They're getting the team hyped. What a difference one drive makes.
Here comes a long return. West Virginia's got an opportunity. Could this be the big play they were looking for? How about it? Winston Wright all the way to the house. The true freshman from Georgia answers back.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Next week, we are full Big 12 action all the way through the end of the season. We'll see you then.